Good evening, everyone. We will call our November 3rd meeting to order. At the beginning of every meeting, we always start with a moment of silence, and I always ask the folks in attendance to silence their phones. So please do that now before we do our moment of silence. All right, and thank you if you'd like to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. And now, if you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Smith, announcements.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Just a few for you tonight. Wanted to make everybody aware of a tree adoption event being held by Tree Charlotte. It's for North Mecklenburg County residents to come out and get a variety of trees. There will be a mix of species there, and a link to register to receive the trees will be added online this Friday, November 7th at 10 a.m. Each registration is limited to 2 trees. And they have let us know that the tree adoption event will be on November 15th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., but have not released the location of the event yet. So for more information, visit that link. Go ahead and sign up if you would like to receive up to 2 trees, and keep an eye out for where the location will be. Also, CMS community meeting for a new school. There's a project update meeting, and that will be Thursday, November 20th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Francis Bradley Middle School, which is at 13345 Beatties Ford Road here in Huntersville. Now I get to spend the next couple of slides bragging on our staff, so happy to do that. The town of Huntersville was honored as one of the healthiest employers in North Carolina. We received a 2nd place ranking in the 200 to 499 employees category. I don't think that has anything to do with the run I took before work today, but here's to hoping. And also brag on our planning department for a little bit. The Town of Huntersville Design Guidebook won the 2025 Marvin Collins Award in the Specialized Plan category. Brad Priest, our Assistant Planning Director, and Danny Wilson, the Urban Planning Manager of Freese and Nichols, were recognized by the American Planning Association, the North Carolina chapter, for their work on that. Also, Steve Robbins, our Assistant Public Works Director, was just sworn in recently as the 2026 President of the American Public Works Association for the North Carolina Chapter Streets Division. Also wanted to let everybody know we are coming up on an application deadline. Mecklenburg County has formed an Agriculture Advisory Board, and if you're interested in representing the town of Huntersville, you can find more details on our website at huntersville.org, and you have to have your application in by 5 p.m. on November 6th, 2025. If you're interested in being a member, you have to be actively engaged in agriculture and reside in Mecklenburg County and commit to a 3-year term. And that is all I have for you.
Thank you very much. And now we have a presentation from our Environmental Sustainability Committee. Hi, ladies.
Hi there. I'll make sure I can use this clicker. Okay. So I think in June, Jeremy Shook came and gave the update for the Environmental Sustainability Committee, kind of giving an update on our purpose and the goals that the committee had set. And today we want to give you an update on our progress we've made on those goals, as well as one of our goals, get your support. So in terms of our goals and progress that we've made, the first was increase the visibility of the Sustainability Committee. And so they've done a few things. They held several events, table events at the Growers Market. They defined some colors that were to be used for branding, building off of the Greenway Trail and Bikeway Commission's logo. They added blue for water, and so kind of building on that. Working with the town to launch a page on the town of Huntersville website, so that's in process and coming along. The next goal was to plan, organize, and execute creek and community cleanup days. They do have, working with some members of the Pottstown community, a cleanup scheduled on the 22nd of November. They're planning to do a North Meg Park cleanup in January or February, and then others like the Huntington Green community, and I think others they're looking to plan later next year. Thirdly, they determining opportunities for developing wildlife corridors. One of the things that's pretty cool that they did is partnered with NCDOT, and they actually, since June, found somebody. They were able to have the driver wildlife guidelines statewide updated, including the handbook and driver's ed materials. Pretty amazing, just one person taking that on and getting that done. Secondly, they're currently partnering with the town to identify opportunities to develop a green network plan. And so this would be developing corridors for wildlife movement, protecting our wildlife and also helping with traffic safety. Next, determining opportunities for sustainable practices relating to building and demolition, water and energy usage, and waste reduction. And there's been lots of research so far on all of those things, and we expect kind of future progress to be reported. And then lastly is launching a treasure tree program with the town of Huntersville, and we've got some more slides on that one. I'll turn over to Anne Marie.
Okay. You want to still handle it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Diane and I have been working on this for quite a while, actually. It's how we both ended up on the Sustainability Committee in the first place. But the American Forest Program launched a treasure tree national-wide program almost 100 years ago, and it was started out as a competition to find the largest living specimens of trees throughout the country, and made it a bit of a contest, and that it still exists today. And then there's some related programs like the North Carolina Championship Program. Mecklenburg also has its own treasure tree program, and then municipalities across the country, and including locally, like Davidson and Matthews also have programs. And what we're recommending is that we create our own program here in Huntersville, and it would be recognizing champion trees, which would be the largest trees of their species, trees with special features, and trees tied to our history and culture. And how it would work is we would have a nomination process, a form that folks would fill out, nominating the tree that they would like to nominate, and then we would have voting on that, and we would have a board that would be a subcommittee we would recommend from within the Environmental Sustainability Committee that would handle the voting. And then there would be signage added to the tree with a QR code so that folks could look up the information about that specific tree when they're out about and seeing these trees. Davidson has this right now. And also, they would be searchable on the webpage by scanning that QR code or just looking up that specific tree for more information. And what we're looking for as far as resources, we would really just capitalize on the existing infrastructure that we have. So using the communication that the town has with newsletters, community events, working off the webpage that the Sustainability Committee will have within the town's website, and where we'd list the trees and have the map as well. And then the nomination and review process would be with our current Environmental Sustainability Committee, with a new subcommittee perhaps as part of that. And then just the measurements and verification of these features would be using the Environmental Sustainability Committee, volunteers, and perhaps an arborist certification. And then there'd be quarterly voting, and the tree signage we would hope could be done in-house with the current town's sign production. And then we would utilize community engagement events that we already have scheduled around town. And our goal would be to select the first 5 trees in time for Arbor Day of 2026. And the benefits of having a program would be just to engage the community, encourage a appreciation and conservation of our tree canopy, holding treasure tree recognition events that could get school children involved, for instance, creating a sense of friendly competition and pride for our trees, providing the opportunity to learn about our treasure tree special qualities, recognizing the town's features and history through the tree canopy, setting up opportunities to experience trees in a unique way, and to identify heritage, specimen, and champion trees in our community. And so our request to the board really is just the support of the town to have something like this and utilizing the town's resources in order to launch the program. And that's, I think, all we have. Questions?
Yeah, can you tell us how much you anticipate this would cost?
Really very little if we're able to use the town's resources for the signage. I would not think anything more than $1,000 or $2,000 would be the most, I would think.
Anthony, is that an issue? Okay, thumbs up. Okay, very good. Okay.
Or do you have any questions for them? I think the treasure tree idea is wonderful. Everybody nod if you think so. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have public comments, and we'll start with Josh Dumas. I see you have Christy Cowan and Brent Cowan. I see them here, so you have 9 minutes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Dumas. I live in Cedarfield here in Huntersville. I'm the husband of Commissioner Amanda Dumas, who, as most of you might know, had to leave her term a little early. She had to leave the town for family reasons. Tomorrow's Election Day, and in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a new assortment of folks up here, maybe some of the same, maybe not. And so typically on that changeover meeting, every commissioner kind of gets to give their last comments, their parting thoughts, things like that. Amanda's not going to be here for that. She really wanted to do it. She asked me to do it, and I will always take up the opportunity to speak in public because I am an attention, you know what. So I'm going to go ahead and just read this through. Bear with me. It's with deep disappointment that I couldn't complete my term as your town commissioner. Serving this community has been one of my greatest honors of my life. Huntersville is and always will be the place I call home. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together as a board to invest in this town and keep it moving forward. When I first decided to run, I had no idea how much I would learn. Campaigning is something you can't fully understand until you've lived it. It's both terrifying and exhilarating. One day you're someone's neighbor, and the next your name is being debated by strangers online. And if you're fortunate enough to win, you step into a role you think you understand, only to discover it's far more challenging, demanding, and humbling than you could ever imagine. For those who chose to get involved for the right reasons, I applaud you. It's a brave thing to do, putting yourself out there. For those who win, it's a rewarding yet thankless job. You'll always disappoint someone, often people you care deeply about, and you'll likely work harder than you ever expected. I've always said everyone should work in a restaurant at least once in their life for that experience. Now, I'd say the same about serving on a town board. Though in truth, not everyone could or should. Municipal government is uniquely personal. This isn't Congress or the State House. Here, the scrutiny comes from people you know, your neighbors, fellow church members, parents from your child's classroom. You go from being an unknown to being photographed at dinner or stopped in the grocery store to debate a stop sign placement. Literally, that happened. Sometimes people you've known for years decide they dislike you simply because you stepped into public service. And yet, I believe most people run for office with good intentions because they want to help their community. Those are the leaders we want and need. My fear is that the way social media operates today discourages good candidates from stepping up. Discussion about town projects and developments is healthy, both online and in person. But I've continued to think that even when some in those groups disagreed with me. We have several groups that provide a good forum for that kind of dialogue, but some social media groups have turned local politics into entertainment. They thrive on personal attacks, rumors, and tearing people down. And not just candidates, even sometimes their families and children. That doesn't serve Huntersville. Drama attracts drama. If these groups continue to shape our local narrative, we'll end up with candidates drawn to the chaos instead of the cause. Unless we demand better, we risk losing the very people we most need to lead us. I've also spent a lot of time thinking about what makes a good leader for our town. For me, it starts with curiosity, being eager to learn, to listen, and to understand, along with the business skills to negotiate with developers and secure the best outcomes for every piece of land in town project. A good leader is never arrogant or drawn into childish trolling. Too often, we see leaders who make up their minds before they have all the facts, guaranteeing their support, and then spend their energy trying to convince everyone else they were right all along. To me, that's not strength, it's weakness. Real strength comes from humility, the willingness to admit when you don't know something, to listen to others, and to change your mind when new information proves you wrong. That takes courage, and that kind of leadership, the kind that values growth over ego, is what will move Huntersville forward. Huntersville deserves leaders who put service before self, who remember that this role is about the people we represent, not ourselves. Before I close, I want to take a moment to recognize my fellow commissioners. Commissioner Jen Hunt, our friendship formed quickly, and I'll always be proud of the work that you've led on sustainability. Commissioner LaToya Rivers, your strength and energy never ceases to amaze me. I've been proud to support your efforts in Pottstown and affordable housing. You've helped put Huntersville on the right path. Commissioner Alicia Bergsman, your passion for doing good is inspiring. Working with you on the non-discrimination ordinance was an honor. Though it hasn't yet succeeded, I know we share the goal of building a more inclusive and supportive Huntersville. Commissioner Nick Walsh, I owe you an apology. Amanda owes you an apology. I once judged you based on rumors instead of reality, and I was wrong. You were my biggest surprise. While we don't always agree, I've learned so much from our conversations. You do your homework, you listen, and when necessary, you adapt. That's true leadership. I'll always treasure our time working together, and yes, I still expect a good dad joke now and then, so text her. I'll get you her number later if you want. It has been a privilege, Mayor Christy Clark, it has been a privilege to serve alongside you. Your steady leadership and long-standing commitment to Huntersville and North Carolina have provided a foundation for this board and for our community. Thank you for the example you've set and for the many years you've given in service to this town. I also want to take a moment to recognize our incredible town staff. The work you do is often behind the scenes, but it's absolutely essential to make Huntersville run. You keep this town moving forward with professionalism, creativity, and care, from planning and public works to police, fire, administration, all of it. You are the ones who turn policy into reality. Huntersville is stronger because of you, and I'm deeply grateful for the chance to have worked alongside you. As I step away, I carry with me gratitude for the opportunity, for the lessons, and for the trust placed in me. Huntersville is strong, resilient, and full of promise. My hope is that we continue to work together, to listen more, to judge less, and to work side by side for the good of the whole community. At the end of the day, titles and positions come and go, but what lasts is the trust of the people. That's what we should be all working to earn every day. Thank you for the honoring of serving. And while I've had to leave this seat, I will never stop cheering for this town and its people. So that's the end of Amanda's remarks. That's what she prepared. And I have extra time, and I've prepared my own comments for Amanda. She's watching, I hope. So for the last 2.5 years, I watched Amanda go from reluctant candidate to a campaigning dynamo, amazing, then to a newly elected official thrown into all this craziness, and then to a fearless champion working and fighting for what she believed in. As an elected official, I saw her engage with constituents of all ilks, listen to all the arguments, and try to work with everyone she could. She devoted so much of her time to being prepared, to hearing others out, and to deliberating each and every decision. I can tell you that there were many occasions where she made up her mind on an issue sitting right there. She didn't know how she was going to vote until the vote happened, because she wanted to make sure she heard every piece of information before she made up her mind. Amanda had to leave Huntersville suddenly for family reasons. While I lament this loss and miss her dearly, I know that we will be together again, and this momentary separation will one day just be a blip in our family history. But for the town of Huntersville, man, you guys lost a good one. Truly. Amanda's integrity, honesty, and complete lack of selfishness are qualities we should look for in every public official, and are qualities that seem to be harder and harder to find. Tomorrow's election day, and while many have already cast their votes, myself included, a lot of people in town will do so tomorrow. No matter the results, there will be at least 2 new faces up here, maybe more. But no matter what combination of candidates we put up there tomorrow, I know for a fact that this town deserves to have someone like Amanda up there. We deserve to have a leader as compassionate, as upstanding, and as outstanding as Amanda Dumas. I could not be more proud of her. She took on a massive responsibility and risk that nearly everyone cannot and will not. And she crushed it. I love you, babe. Congratulations for all you've accomplished.
Thank you, Josh. Next, Chris Wolak. You have 3 minutes, Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Wolak. I live in Vermillion on the south side. I didn't prepare my remarks today, but I was just thinking about the Pottstown community plan that is going to be decided later today. Part of the reason why it's so hard to understand it is because it doesn't really seem like a plan. So I looked up the definition of a plan, and it says an orderly or step-by-step conception or proposal for accomplishing an objective. The presentations that I've seen from the neighboring concepts has a lot of great ideas in it, but there's nothing really outlined as a plan. So I can understand the hesitance to whether you should adopt it, since it's so free form. It's like, how would you know when you're accomplishing what's in there? So, but time is of the essence. There's already been one probably historic house that's been completely demolished in 3 days flat. I don't know if you've seen that on Holbrooks. It's just gone, and there's no way to get that back. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Stephanie Brown. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, evening. Where am I at? I'm on the behalf of the Pottstown Leaders Group. We sent a letter to you, the Town of Commissioners, Mayor Clark, to just express some of our concerns about the concept that neighboring concepts has as far as the Pottstown preservation plan. So I just wanted to read what we sent to you in public, and so you can all get a better understanding of how some of the participants in the leaders group are feeling. Dear Town of Huntersville officials, we, the members of the Pottstown Leaders Group, would like to begin by expressing our sincere appreciation for the town's recognition of the importance of developing a Pottstown preservation plan. We're also thankful for the partnership with neighboring concepts in creating a plan intended to sustain and strengthen the Pottstown community for years to come. After reviewing the drafted plan, we have identified several concerns that we believe need to be addressed before we can fully support the version scheduled for vote on today. And our concerns are as follows. Adequate review time. We feel that the community has not been given sufficient time to thoroughly review the draft plan and to properly inform and engage all residents regarding the contents and implications. Community education. We would like to have a place in this plan that addresses that. There is a need for more accessible education and outreach regarding land trusts, overlays, and historic designations. This will allow residents to make informed decisions about whether these mechanisms will truly benefit the future of the Pottstown community. Consideration of ETJ residents. The plan should also include clear provisions for Pottstown residents who live within the ETJ to ensure their needs and voices are fully represented, and to give us clear boundaries of the Pottstown area need to be established. Ongoing review and accountability. We request the plan to include a requirement for formal review. Instead of every 2 years that was placed in there, we're thinking more every 6 months as this plan grows, to ensure alignment with the community's evolving vision and priorities, and to allow the modifications when necessary. Financial oversight and management. Who will manage and oversee financial responsibilities, including how funds that are given either through the private sector or from the coming in from the town, how those funds will be allocated and how they will be tracked and reported. We remain committed to working collaboratively with the town and all stakeholders to ensure that the Pottstown Preservation Plan reflects both the spirit and the needs of our community. And we thank you for your attention, for our continued partnership in this important effort, and that comes from the Pottstown Leaders Group.
Thank you, Stephanie. Rachel Zwiff, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I just want to make some comments about the plan. I'm tired, no, I'm sorry. But I just want to thank again the board for allowing us the opportunity to go through this process for most of last year. Thank you to Neighboring Concept. Thank you to my fellow Pottstown residents. It has been a delightful journey. We learned a lot along the way. In our last leaders group meeting, as Stephanie discussed, we talked about one of the steps in the toolkit was to develop the collaboration. So we are actively working on that to go further, to go ahead so that we can move on with this plan. So that is my latest update, and I hope that we can go ahead and proceed today.
Thank you, Rachel. Janelle Harris, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, Janelle Harris from Pottstown. All right, so as we know, the referendum, it hasn't even passed yet. However, Pottstown is slowly becoming unrecognizable, as has been mentioned. Houses are already being demolished. We want a plan that truly preserves. We need community benefits agreements in place with the developers and stakeholders who come into Pottstown and think they can just demolish everything. We're standing for our elders and for future generations who have this plan to preserve Pottstown and hold it truly dear to our hearts, and hope that it is truly the plan to preserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. All right, item number 7, agenda changes and adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item number 8, consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. There are no public hearings this evening. We're on to item number 10A, consider appointing 1 member to the Public Arts Commission due to a vacancy.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. In front of you tonight is appoint 1 member to the Public Art Committee. It's an unexpired term.
Okay. Commissioner Rivers, I'll start with your nomination.
I would like to nominate Christina Stroud. Sorry.
Stout. Commissioner Walsh.
Christina Stout.
Commissioner Hunt.
Christina Stout.
Commissioner Quarles.
Christina Stout.
Commissioner Bergsman.
Christina Stout.
Okay. Is there a motion to appoint Christina Stout to the Public Arts Commission?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Christina Stout to the Public Arts Commission for a partial 3-year term expiring March 31st, 2026.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Thank you, Ms. Stout, for volunteering. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Item number 10B, consider a purchase agreement for the purchase of property located at 14719 North Oates, Statesville Road. Mr. Williams.
This is the location of the property. It's right next to the downtown Greenway trailhead. This piece of property has been talked about in one manner or form for a number of years related to the extension and expansion of Holbrook Park. There's also been some talk about this as potential for affordable housing, to do workforce housing. A number of steps would need to take place for us to follow that path, but just wanted to kind of outline, show the photos here, and then certainly the references to both the downtown plan and the 2040 plan talked about expansion of Holbrook Park. And then there's also mentioned the downtown plan related to the tree canopy in this area and this parcel tying into a potential regional stormwater pond. And the purchase price, $550,000. Happy to take any questions.
Commissioner Rivers, you have a question?
I know you stated that this was some talk about maybe possibly purchasing this for affordable housing. Have we started the due diligence process?
Yeah,
and if so, where are we in that?
Yep, that's a great question. So we've done a home inspection just to try to get a handle on. We walked into one of the units and you could tell, you need to replace some carpeting and maybe some drywall in spots. We have done a home inspection. There is some mold in the units, or at least in two of the units in particular. And so we would look at remediation of that if we were to pursue for affordable housing. Some concerns about the foundation. It does seem like it was built pretty well. Things of the time in which it was built tended to be built a little better with certain materials, but it's hard to predict. You've seen the driveway. It's a challenge to get into it. You've seen all of that. So that is all part of what we would continue to vet as far as kind of giving you a true idea of what, I guess it would be the next board to decide, but give you a true idea of what the cost might be if we were to pursue for affordable housing. And then we'd also be looking for a partner to handle the property management of it to the extent we were able to. We're still somewhat limited up in this end of the county in terms of folks providing those services.
Any other questions? Commissioner Hunt?
Can you share some of the details about the park, if there were potentially to be the expansion of Holbrook Park, what that might look like?
Well, a very dangerous question for Michael J. Cox. I know this expansion of this park's been on his list for a number of years.
Yeah, like I said, you get one opportunity, obviously, in the downtown area for park space and tree canopy, but one of the visions we shared during the retreat back in February was a potential canopy walk, so it's like a raised boardwalk. Anybody been to downtown Cary lately? They have a new park that's similar to that. Obviously, other pieces would need to be come into play as well to make that happen, but this piece would help with that future vision of the park. So more passive activities.
Okay, thank you.
Bobby, with if this potential regional stormwater, that would be the extension of the pond that's being built now?
That's correct.
And how would that impact its ability to be used as a park, or would it?
A portion of the property would facilitate the stormwater, and then the rest would be available to go towards the park.
Any other questions for Bobby? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the purchase agreement for the purchase of property located at 14719 North Old Statesville Road.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Commissioner Hunt?
Oh, I think this sounds great, and I am looking forward to voting yes on this.
I think this will be a great addition to the town, park, of stormwater, whatever it turns out. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. And then next we have consider 10C, consider approving budget amendment for purchase of 14719 Old Statesville Road. Any other questions for Bobby? Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the purchase of 14719 North Old Statesville Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 10D, consider adopting the Pottstown Community Preservation Plan. Mr. Pete?
Staff and the consultants are really here to sort of answer any questions you may have, as the item was deferred at the last meeting.
Commissioner Rivers?
So in reviewing what we've received from the Pottstown Leaders Group, can we talk about the adequate review time? How can we, I guess, ensure that if this plan is adopted, how can we ensure that the residents feel that they understand the plan? And can we, and also, this is two questions, because I keep hearing that this is not a plan. So can we just kind of talk about the framework of the plan? If Mr.
So there's a lot of elements involved, obviously, in preservation. We looked at every strategy because it is important to look at it from many angles. And so there are 4 areas just of focus that the framework identifies. And then, obviously, a lot of those individual strategies, some of them are a bit of an effort. So the opportunity is there to really vet whether, the community has the resources it needs to actually implement those. I will say that like a thing like an overlay district is going to be a challenge, and it's just getting harder for municipalities to apply overlays in North Carolina. For a plan to have teeth, you do, the municipalities are able to do more if the properties are historic, So there is a designation process, and that involves also the community support, the residents to actually, voluntarily want their property to be designated historic. So there's a lot of things to actually explore. But the other options are, you already have nonprofit groups that are actively working on, helping community members live in their homes. So that is a base to start with. And so maybe what you do need to look at is acquiring properties. So supporting a nonprofit to acquire property is a very valid way to also approach the goals of preservation. Now, we did bring up the ideas of having a community land trust as well. That is something that's new in our county, but it is, when I participated in founding the West Side Community Land Trust, I found that it was an exhilarating effort that I've ever been involved in. And that is just because when you get, 8 or 10 folks that are committed to doing something and are positive about getting the community control of their own land, you can do a lot. And so that is we have 60 properties now in our portfolio at Westside Community Land Trust. So that is I think that's a valid tool that this community can also implement. So yes, about the framework, it is about choosing what you need, what the community wants to focus on, because, and you have to create work groups. We did put a recommended implementation, an action plan in the final section of the plan. And that is actually the start of this, of an actual plan. But because there are, I completely agree, we need a longer review period with the community, just so the community understands what they can prioritize. We did recommend certain items be prioritized, but still it is really up to your community to decide upon those. But we did provide a timeline and framework for that, and the final action plan is I think, an important step. But we need to create a working group of a coalition group that can actually take the elements of the plan and actually begin working on, how do you prioritize one strategy, and how do you, a lot of that is also about, targeting where you need the support and the capacity to be built to actually establish those. So that is I agree that we need time to really think about that.
Okay. So I know that you spoke on the land trust and overlays. How many meetings did you have to discuss the overlays and land trust? Was it just that one meeting when you brought in the other representatives from the other communities? Or was there several meetings that discussed this?
Yeah, there were several. We were actually talking about it in previous, in our workshops with the community. We were talking about elements like that. Now, when we had the discussion with in June with the three community leaders, they didn't bring up overlays. They brought up a lot of things that we also incorporated into strategies. But we did start to pinpoint the need to discuss things like demolition controls and address the factors that the ETJ, that the town has, less opportunity to fund and provide benefits to those areas. So we think that an overlay is actually a great approach because you can start to create an ETJ in a town, an incorporated area is also part of that overlay district. So you can, in that respect, you can start to unify, maybe explore how you creating a process for incorporation with the overlay. So that's something to discuss. I think it might be a good tool.
Okay, thank you for that. Has there been, and this is for staff, has there been any conversation with the Historic Lands Commission about designated areas, possible designated areas in the Pottstown community?
Yes, they participated in our process. Apologize for stepping away there, I was just trying to grab, but so they participated in the last 9 months of communicating with the community and fact gathering and all of that stuff. A lot of it, of course, centered on the Waymer Center and the Torrance Lytle School, excuse me. And it sort of evolved. I mean, Delwood kind of came into the fold as well. And so the representative from the Landmarks Commission was at least 3 meetings that I'm aware of. But prior to that, they actually completed a survey of properties in the Huntersville area. And it identified, it kind of came down to 2 categories. It identified properties that definitely would qualify. And then it said that there was enough significant items involved in some other properties that it could necessitate or be worthy of a deeper dive. And so we have reached out to the Landmarks Commission to move forward with more of that, to try to put those designations into place. I wanted to add just very briefly, if I could, onto what Eric was saying. I think he said the community didn't necessarily come to the discussions with the idea of the overlay or the insistence on the overlay. What they were doing was they were expressing their want or desire, which was, can we choose a different zoning designation of the town, or can we create a new one that would do the things that they were looking for, which was sort of a protection, if you will. And it was explained that due to state law and some recent understanding that we're limited in what we could do. But we did offer up collectively the idea of the overlay to say, here are the essential abilities that the land use controls already allow, but the overlay could perhaps tailor them a little bit. And as Eric said, the most commonly sort of understood by all would be a historic overlay. But it could be in a different fashion in the ways that the state law would allow. Again, doesn't get into materials or things like that that we don't regulate in any regard. But it was an option. And, I think the best way to characterize the experience was, I think there was a good understanding of where the plan wanted to be, but there was the limitations of what our tools allow us to do. And so what Neighboring Concepts was doing was bringing more tools to the table, identifying their value, and then trying to in other words, if you can't kind of nail the hammer with one, then maybe we can use 6 different, tools and get to the same end, if you will. But it would be very much our understanding that if a plan were to be enacted, once you get that voice to speak to, meaning the Pottstown representative group, then staff, it may or may not involve Neighboring Concepts going forward, because that would sort of be a different contract situation. But we would certainly sit down and introduce them to the affiliated agencies, talk to them about what our state law is, talk to them about what our local regulations would be, and then even get into different department roles so that the community try to answer every question that they had. They asked a lot during the process, and we tried to answer those, but as you can appreciate, sometimes an answer generates 3 more questions. So by no means is this, a leave the plan at the edge of the table and walk away. This is something that we're all lifting together, because none of us can do it separately.
There was some concerns, sorry, my mic is off, but I got a big mouth, so y'all can probably still hear me. There was some concerns in regards to the ETJ residents. Can you kind of just give some information in regards to boundaries? What rights, I guess I don't want to say rights, but I guess what type of rights do those residents have? Identifying boundaries, making sure that boundaries are plain and clear, especially within, I think there are some concerns within the Pottstown community, because there could possibly be one house right here that is within the ETJ and one that's not inside, so.
So without going too far astray from your question and then drilling down to the specific, so what you see on this map here in the yellow is the town's municipal limits, and then the green areas represent those that are in our extraterritorial jurisdiction. That is a distinction that the state of North Carolina allows for a community to have developmental influence over the properties that are closest to their jurisdiction. Mecklenburg County actually went further, and I think it was a good forethought, that they basically sort of divided up all of the jurisdictional land throughout the county to the different municipalities, so that Davidson has an ETJ, Cornelius, et cetera. And so you can see that they're predominantly on the far east and the far west of the town, as we have grown centric from the interstate and the railroad. But when you get specifically into the Pottstown community, you can see the bright yellow line that sort of meanders, designates the properties mostly to the east, or to the west or the left side of the screen, and those on the right would be outside of town. Now, what we can tell you is that when it comes to land use controls, zoning designations, there is no difference. The zoning designation, is it neighborhood residential, is it highway commercial, et cetera, that would be your distinguishing factor. But whether it's in town or out of town, it doesn't have a bearing. But when it comes to service delivery, there is, what police and fire would do. Now, those who are in the ETJ are still served, it's just in a different fashion, or it's by agreement, or what have you. But I would certainly allow, if our attorney wants to jump in at all, but when it does come to the expenditure of town funds, there are very specific limitations on what you can do. So, for a municipal project, for instance, sidewalks, they would be something that you could do within the town limits. It would be different outside. Now, I've alluded at the last meeting that it doesn't necessarily preclude, you would have to get a different funding source. You have to get something that can cross those jurisdictional boundaries or doesn't even recognize the boundaries. If it were a grant or something that is bringing in funds in a different fashion, which a lot of the agencies that Eric has identified would have those types of resources. Again, doesn't mean that you would win the designation or get the funding in a grant cycle, but it would be a pot of money that would not have those same restrictions necessarily. Does that make sense?
And in regards to ongoing review and accountability, it was suggested instead of every 2 years, 6 months to a year. In regards to review and accountability, and I guess, are we able to look at giving the accountability to the community, I guess, reporting as far as projects or where we are with the plan in regards to setting goals? Let's say we begin, if the plan is adopted and we say, okay, we're gonna have a meeting in January. And once we sit down at this meeting, we'll have our top 3 goals as to what we want to start with the working plan. We'll come and revisit this in June. Are we?
We are completely available and ready. Again, this, with the exception of a contracted help, the town staff, at the leisure of the administration through the town board, we can meet when you're ready to meet, and it might be ASAP or January, as you say, and then the frequency of those updates can be as prescribed as well. So that is not a problem. As alluded to in the plan, there's going to be a lot of meetings at the beginning because you got to get your feet under you. But once things start to roll, and you're waiting for due diligence and research and what have you, then that may necessitate that there's some type of time frame. But we can fully appreciate that the forces of development might be knocking around the edges, but we're certainly here to move the ball forward as quickly as the board would like.
Okay. And then there were some concerns or questions in regards to managing and overseeing the financial responsibilities, I guess including how funds are allocated. So when we talk about different projects, like for instance, the traffic calming, are we able to give specific updates about where the funding is coming from, how these projects are being funded, and how?
Are you speaking about town-funded projects?
Yes.
So we have a process that is identified. If a project is moving forward through our CIP or anything related, even if it's a grant that we have received, we have an accountability process for that. And we can communicate that, package that, however the board would like to do specifically for the Pottstown community. For other funds that would be sort of outside the town's perimeter, I'm not 100% sure what that would look like, but we can help figure that out collectively. The status of this coalition, I think, as has been alluded to, would certainly help. If it has certain tax standing and what have you, then maybe it's the answer. It can handle that. Right. But again, not necessarily needing to reinvent the wheel. Again, those like agencies that are already established, that are here, like an Ada Jenkins or something else, maybe the town can talk, help, push whatever they would like to in terms of their priorities, and help those initiatives come back to the community. So I think there is not one-stop shopping. I think it's a multitude of ways that those projects or those initiatives can be resourced.
Okay. That's all I got.
Any other questions? No. Okay, Commissioner Rivers, are we ready for a motion?
We are. I would like to make a motion that we consider adopting and approving the Pottstown Community Preservation Plan as it is a working plan.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion?
I just want to commend the residents for their hard work and their due diligence. I want to commend the town staff and Neighboring Concepts for your hard work and your due diligence as well. What I can say is that we want to ensure that our community is preserved. Again, we did lose a home that has been in the community for many years, and it's very near and dear to me because it was family property. And we have to ensure that our community is protected, but we also want to ensure that the future, our children's future, they're able to recognize and appreciate the preservation of the Pottstown community. So I look forward to seeing the community unify. I think that this is bridging the gap and building the trust between the town and the community, which has also been a concern raised within the past 2 years that I have been sitting in this seat. So I'm ready to see the action. I think a lot of residents in the community are ready to see the action, and I think this is a great start. So thank you.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pete. Item number 11, closing comments. Commissioner Rivers.
It's getting cold outside. The seasons are changing. Please wash your hands, wear your mask, stay safe.
Is that personal to me?
That is not personal to you at all, but I will tell you to rest. If you're not feeling well, rest.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Walsh.
Just for those who have not gone out and voted, get out and vote tomorrow, and good luck to my colleagues up here.
Commissioner Hunt. Commissioner Quarles. Commissioner Bursman.
Yeah, I just have 2 updates from Visit Lake Norman. They wanted me to share that Lake Norman Lacrosse Fall Classic was held this past weekend. And it's the 5th year the youth lacrosse tournament has held the girls' age divisions at Richard Berry Park, with 53 teams competing. And also, they recently won the Outstanding Website Award from the 2025 Web Marketing Association competition.
Thank you. I just want to again reiterate everyone to vote tomorrow at your regular polling location. Don't forget your ID. And good luck to all the candidates on the ballot. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.